Ramya. How are you doing?
Hey, Divya. I'm good. How are you?
I am good. So thank you so much for making time for this and talking to me something that is quite important to mothers, I guess. So thanks a lot. Uh,
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
so I'll take a minute here to introduce what this series, Supermoms of Cimpress, is about. So this is a chat show to cherish, celebrate the supermoms around me, and learn from them through their journey of motherhood, maternity leave, and what it is like to transition back to work. So before we start, can you quickly introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Ramya. I've been working with Cimpress for 5 years now. Part of the HR team, leading the business partnering for the technology teams in India. Mother of a 3-year-old Shreya, who's taken her father's looks and my attitude, which both are unfair. And I'm still trying out. I'm still figuring out ways to manage her. My mom thinks it's absolutely fair. She thinks it's my own karma. But yeah.
In case she comes and let her say hi to us.
Oh yeah, she's in school.
Okay.
This is a much peaceful time for me.
Okay, so all right. I think we can begin our conversation now. So, first thing first, can you tell me about your phase of motherhood? What was it like for you? How did your maternity leave treat you?
Mine was a dramatic experience, right? My daughter was born end of Feb. Pandemic hit us all in March. I was in my hometown with my parents. My husband was there when she was born, and then in a couple of weeks went back to Mumbai just to land in lockdown, right? And it was challenging with the travel restrictions, quarantine rules. It took him 6 months to actually come and visit her. So he actually got to see her as a 6-month-old, and you on one side it's already emotionally and physically exhausting by being a new mother, and on top of it your emotional needs, or rather the social needs, are also not met, so that made it all the more challenging. We had to compromise on few celebrations with the restrictions. I was very scared also to expose her to outside world. You don't know what this virus is capable of. So it was tough, but in a way helped, because when I transitioned back to work, since it was remote work, my support system was intact.
Yeah, indeed, it sounds like a very tough period. So, like all the mothers around me, I'm sure you must have also heard or experienced or maybe read of some myths and stereotypes around maternity leave. I spoke to quite a few mothers for this series, and I figured out that there are a lot of myths attached to maternity period. So I would like to understand your perception also on this. What do you think about the myth of the maternity period being called a vacation, or maybe the assumption about a woman if she would return to work or not after her maternity break? What is your take on that?
Yeah, see, it's an incredible experience, but it brings in significant life changes, and it's not often discussed, right? Um, as I said, there are physical demands of taking care of a newborn. First of all, you are very naive, right? You're trying to learn, you're trying to bond with the child. There are sleepless nights, and you experience like a bag of emotions. You're happy, you're excited, but you also have a self-doubt that if you can manage it all. One day it is exciting when the baby achieves the little milestones, like okay, probably a rollover or anything, and the other day you are very emotionally drowned. Like, for example, I remember there's a funny incident when she started recognizing people. She used to smile at her grandparents, but whenever she looked at me, she made eye contact. She used to turn away instantly, and that got me very upset and disappointed. I was so naive. I even Googled as to what should I be doing better to bond with the baby. So now it looks funny, but that phase is such.
How old
Um,
was she at that time?
she was around 3 months. Yeah, and postpartum depression is real. A lot of us go through without even realizing it. So it's unfair to assume that this was a vacation.
Yeah. And what do you
In
think?
terms of yeah,
Rolling part?
yeah, people see each one's journey is different. the decision to resume or not is also influenced by various factors, right? The support system for every individual is different. So it is, again, like we should give a very open environment for her to take the right decision. She knows what's best for her and the baby. Resuming after maternity does not make her care any less for the baby, right? And even if she decides to pause her career for a moment, to take care of the baby, that does not make her any less ambitious. And when they, come back to work, to the mainstream careers, we should provide an environment for her to thrive. So the decision should be that of the individual, and as an organization, as a society, we should give her an open environment and not judge the decision, whatever it may be.
Sure. So, when did you decide to come back to work? I mean, how long was your maternity break, and what was it like to come back to work? How did you manage your transition back?
So I resumed after 6 months of maternity leave. As I said, I mean, my support system was intact because it was remote work. And I was looking forward to resume, in the sense that last 15, 16 months has not been in my control. So I wanted to resume, but I was apprehensive because here there is no trade off. It's a dual role, right? The responsibilities are only increasing. You cannot compromise on your performance. At the same time, there is mother's guilt, right? I mean, that's a very fine balance. It takes a couple of weeks to find a routine. So, two things that helped me transition. One was planning, right? I mean, I had to plan every day in terms of planning my meeting schedule or the work hours, as in the async work that you have to do, and with the baby schedule. Still, I mean, there are always surprises, right? Each day is different. Even now, I have to plan. And my daughter, when she wakes up from her nap, gets cranky, she assumes it's the next day and she has to go to school. So every day, you have to plan, but things will eventually fall in place, right? And the other important thing is communication. So you need to communicate with the team, your stakeholders. If there are any challenges, understand the work expectations, deliverables. If there is any flexibility, or if there are any challenges, what kind of support you would need to overcome and how long, right? So communication is key. I'm super grateful. I mean, I have a fantastic team who continue to revolve around my work schedule even today. I'm beyond grateful for their support. But things will eventually fall in place. It's a matter of time.
Okay.
You don't need any special treatment. It's just that little flexibility before you come back to routine.
Okay. So I suppose you're a first-time mother. I am right in that?
Yeah.
So I'm sure the experience must have been beyond your imaginations and expectations, and perhaps filled with a lot of new challenges as well, along with all the excitement. So, how, according to you, the maternity break and transition can be made better by the organizations?
I think employee assistance programs can be leveraged, both in terms of prenatal as well as postnatal counseling sessions, both for, again, for mental well-being or physical coaching, fitness sessions. Organizations can leverage through the employee assistance program.
And so, just one last thing before we close it. How has your own phase of motherhood changed you as a person and as a professional as well?
I've become more patient without choice. I was more emotional. I've become much more rational. It's got significant changes to my personality, and that's for sure.
So, when you say rational, what do you mean by that? How were you before?
I mean, you don't jump to conclusion. You take one thing at a time. I still take one day at a time. Right? You're much more calm.
Okay, so I'm sure your professional excellence must have also helped you in your personal life, managing Shreya, managing your personal life as well.
It does give a good feeling. I mean, without choice, you'll have to multitask.
Yeah.
And it's fulfilling when I look back.
Yeah. So Thank you, Ramya. So this was all from my side. I just wanted to have this short conversation. So thank you so much for being so candid and sharing your personal thoughts with me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.